Hello friends, this is your friend back with a new fanfic. What if baby Naruto survived with heart-stealing Jiongu and romanced Hinata and Fuu? Episode 1. If you like this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, on the night of the Nine Tails attack, Naruto survives in a way that nobody could have imagined. A forbidden power awakens within him, setting him on a path that will change the Shinobi world forever. Now, let's start. Naruto Uzumaki didn't live a good life. He was ignored by most of the kids his age, and hated by most of the adults. The only ones that didn't hate him were the Hokage, and the Ichirakus who ran the ramen stand. He never understood what made him so unlikable to many people. He tried to be nice to others, but they still ignored him. He used to think that it was because of the strange stitches on his side, but then realized that it would be stupid to hate someone because of that. He learned that he would have to hide his sadness since he saw that people seemed to enjoy seeing him suffer. So he just gave everyone a big grin with closed eyes. He kept his eyes closed because he knew that no matter what he did, he couldn't hide the sadness that would show. Currently, Naruto was on his way back to the orphanage after spending the day at Ichiraku. He ate as much ramen as possible without spending all his money. He snuck back in through a hole in his room, before covering it back up with a small rug. Naruto sighed as he climbed back into his rickety bed and closed his eyes. However, before he could fall asleep, he was yanked out of bed by someone. He looked up and saw that it was the caretaker that was dragging him by his arm. Hey! Let me go! Naruto cried as he started to struggle, only to get punched in the head by the woman. Shut up, you little monster! The nasty woman growled as she opened the door to the orphanage. She then proceeded to throw Naruto into the cold winter night. You've overstayed your welcome here. Now leave and don't come back. With that, she slammed the door in Naruto's face. Naruto just sat there in shock, still processing what had just happened. When he realized that he was just kicked out of the orphanage, he stood up and began to walk into the dark streets of Konoha. The young Uzumaki kept to the alleyways since he knew that it would be a very bad idea to walk out in the open. He wanted to go to Ichiraku's but knew that they would be closed at this hour. He thought about going to the Hokage, however he decided that since he hasn't seen him in over a month that he was very busy. Naruto eventually found a small cardboard box that was under an awning. Naruto decided to make it his new home. So the young boy crawled inside and curled himself into a tiny ball before falling asleep. To-san, Ka-chan, please help me, were the last thought Naruto had before succumbing to a dreamless sleep. Hokage's office. Curse this damned paperwork. Where does it keep coming from? How the hell did Minato get it done so fast? Hiruzen thought as he went through each paper, trying to finish up quickly so he could try to go and see Naruto. He and the clan heads weren't able to make another meeting after the one where Naruto was only 1 year old. Those damned council members on the civilian side are keeping me away from Naruto too much, Hiruzen growled as he finished what he considered the last paper for the evening. He sighed as he leaned back into his chair, thinking about how lonely Naruto might have been. He took out his crystal ball and used it to try and find Naruto. First he looked at his room in the orphanage, but it was surprisingly bare of everything. What? Hiruzen screamed as he shifted the view around the orphanage until he saw the caretaker throwing all of Naruto's stuff into a bonfire. Hiruzen growled as he desperately searched with his crystal ball for Naruto. The image kept changing to different places in Konoha, but couldn't find him. This is not good, Sandame said as he summoned an Anbu. Get me Hayashi Hyuga, Shikaku Nara, Choza Akamichi, and Inoichi Yamanaka, Hiruzen ordered. Hi, Hokage-sama, the Anbu said as he vanished in a puff of smoke. Several minutes later, the aforementioned men walked through the door and saw that their leader was in distress. You called for us, Hokage-sama? Shikaku asked. Hi, I wish it was on better terms, but I have some grave news, Hiruzen said as he sighed. What is it? Choza asked. Naruto's gone missing, Hiruzen said. That shocked all of the clan heads to the core. What happened? Hayashi growled. He had already lost his brother earlier in the year, and maybe the respect of his nephew. He wasn't going to lose the only connection with his best friend. I suspect that he was kicked out of the orphanage tonight, but I haven't been able to locate him at all, and I've been looking through the crystal ball for the past half hour, Hiruzen said. You know for a fact that Tsunade's going to thrash people for this when she gets back from that gambling fair, Choza said. Maybe we could blame it on Orochimaru. That'll take care of a problem for us, Shikaku muttered. They all shared a chuckle at that before turning serious again. Do you want us to go and try to find him? Choza asked. Hiruzen shook his head and said, you should just send out your most trusted clan members, or in Hiyashi's case, most trusted branch members. It would look too suspicious if you were to go out and look at yourselves. Yeah, but we're going to leave Tsunade to you, Inoichi said as he and the other clan heads rushed out of the room before Hiruzen could protest. I better start going over my will, the Sandame thought as he reached into his desk and pulled out a scroll. I, Hiruzen Sarutobi, hereby leave my entire Ika Paradise collection to my son Asuma Sarutobi. 1 month later. Needless to say, Tsunade was royally pissed, and the Hokage didn't die. Though he was admitted to the hospital for a week after Tsunade put some strain on his old heart, and then making him completely better. Naruto was found at this time. Tsunade was on another search for him when she heard crying coming from an alleyway. Inside the alley was everyone's favorite blonde besides me crying in his sleep. Tsunade brought him to the Sandame who, after managing to convince Naruto, got the young Uzumaki a small apartment. Tsunade wanted to adopt him, but that fell under the jurisdiction of the Civilian Council, who made it their life's mission to make Naruto's life a living hell. Currently, Naruto was in his bedroom asleep in his bed. His life had gotten somewhat better when the Hokage got him his apartment. It wasn't much, but it was more than he ever had. There were 3 rooms, his bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom, all of them being something that he appreciated when he started living here. Naruto woke up to the sunlight managing to find its way to his closed eyes. The young blonde rubbed his eyes and slowly got out of bed. He made his way to the bathroom where he proceeded to splash his face with cold water to effectively wake him up. He then went back into his bedroom and changed into his black shirt with a red spiral on it, and some forest green shorts. Ah, I'm hungry, Naruto mumbled as he walked into the kitchen and pulled out a bowl, some cereal, and a gallon of milk. After having a filling breakfast, Naruto then went out to his balcony and took in the fresh air. What a nice day. I think I'm gonna go and see how Gigi's doing. Naruto said as he ran back inside and put on his sandals before running out and locking the door behind him. Naruto then proceeded to run towards the Hokage Tower where he knew the Hokage would be, especially since it was almost 10 o'clock in the morning. I wonder if I can get him to teach me some jutsu today. Naruto wondered as he walked down the street. He continued on his way until he felt the hairs on the back of his neck standing on end. He started to look around and saw that the people were either ignoring his existence, or glaring at him with pure hatred. Naruto just put on a smile and continued walking down the street. Deep down, those glares did affect him, but he had no other idea of how else to deal with it. However, today was going to change Naruto's life. As soon as he passed an alleyway, he was grabbed and pulled inside. Before he could scream out, he felt a pain on the back of his neck before everything went dark. Sometime later, Naruto groggily opened his eyes and saw that he was in a forested area tied to a wooden post. He looked around frantically and tried to get free of his bonds. So you're awake, a voice said. Naruto turned his head to see a young man with black hair and dark eyes. He was dressed in a regular Chunin's attire and had nothing standing out. What do you want? Naruto asked, afraid of what this man wanted from him. I want my revenge. You killed a lot of my friends and I'm gonna avenge them, the Chunin said as he stalked forward, kunai in hand. But I didn't kill anybody, Naruto protested as he struggled harder. Yes you did, you demon. Chunin shouted, losing all of his composure. You crushed hundreds of people with your paws and ate the remains. You almost destroyed the village and its people. I'm going to make sure that you never get the chance to do it again. No. Please. I'm sorry. Naruto cried as he struggled harder, starting to get extremely desperate. The Chunin wore a malicious grin on his face as he raised his kunai in the air, ready to stab Naruto with it. Naruto closed his eyes tightly and felt a strange sensation in his right shoulder. He felt it rip apart painlessly and felt like a part of him was darting forward. He heard a gasp of pain and surprise before he opened his eyes and saw something that shocked him to the core. The Chunin was standing over him with the kunai raised, but that wasn't what shocked him. Coming out of the Chunin's chest were several crimson tendrils that were squiggling around. Naruto looked and saw that they were coming from where his shoulder was ripped off. The stitching was missing and his shoulder was about a foot away from where the rest of his arm was. Demon, the Chunin gasped as the tendrils started to move within him. Naruto stared in shock as something wrapped in the tendrils came out of the Chunin's chest while it was still beating. The Chunin then fell to the floor dead, but Naruto didn't know that yet. The object was then pulled into Naruto where his arm came back to the rest of his body. Ah! Naruto screamed as the weight of what had happened finally settled into his mind. He let loose a chakra pulse that covered the whole village. Hokage's office. You should really make some law about Jiraiya's peeping habits, a blonde-haired woman with a green coat and gray clothing said. She had her hair in two pigtails and had her arms crossed underneath her impressive bust. She gave an annoyed stare into the Sandame's eyes with her honey-colored ones. I'd love Tsunade, but Jiraiya's books make a lot of money. Money that he uses to supply his spy network and himself. He also sends whatever he can spare to Konoha to help with our economy, Hiruzen said as he sighed. Tsunade huffed and said, why couldn't he have just stuck to writing adventure stories? That first one was good even if it wasn't a bestseller. Before Hiruzen could reply, the chakra pulse reached his office. Both his and Tsunade's eyes widened as they recognized who the chakra belonged to. Weasel, Mantis. The Sandame called out. Two Anbu in the aforementioned masks appeared before their Hokage and waited for his orders. Follow us and make sure that there are no interruptions. Hiruzen ordered as he jumped out of his seat and leapt out the window, Tsunade following him in a heartbeat. Both Anbu jumped after them and tried to keep up. When they reached the source of the chakra pulse, Hiruzen's eyes widened and Tsunade gasped. Before them was a crying Naruto, still tied up to the post, and a dead Chunin at his feet. Mantis, make sure that we aren't interrupted. Weasel, stay for a moment, the Sandame ordered. Mantis vanished into the treetops and kept a watchful eye on the surrounding area. Hiruzen then shunshined over to Naruto and cut the ropes holding him in place. Tsunade rushed over to him and hugged him tightly as he cried into her shoulder. Tsunade began whispering comforting words into his ear until he cried himself to sleep. Weasel, do you know who this is? Hiruzen asked as he turned over the body of the dead Chunin. Daichi Uchiha, not a member who stands out, but not weak either, Weasel said after taking a good look at the Chunin. Hiruzen sighed and called Tsunade over, Naruto still clutching to her in his sleep. Can you see if he still has his heart? Tsunade used her free hand to run a diagnostic jutsu on the body before pulling away. No, his heart's not there. All of the veins connecting to it have been cleanly severed. Now I want you to check Naruto. I think that his Jiongu has activated, Hiruzen said. Tsunade nodded and started to check Naruto. After a couple minutes, she stopped the jutsu and faced the Sandame. The threads are moving erratically, trying to move the stolen heart to an area in Naruto's body where it will cause little discomfort, Tsunade explained. Sandame sighed and said, "Bring him back to my office. Weasel, you go and summon Hiashi Hyuga and Inoichi Yamanaka to my office." Mantis, the Anbu appeared before him. "If anyone asks about what happened, tell them that a new way to dispel genjutsu was being tested before it went out. Speak nothing about what really happened here." The Anbu nodded before they disappeared again. The remaining two conscious people then left for the Hokage's office. After 5 minutes of waiting, Hiashi and Inoichi walked in with Weasel behind them. Weasel shut the door just as Hiruzen activated the privacy seals. Upon seeing Naruto clutching Tsunade, Hayashi asked, "What happened?" Daichi Uchiha attempted to kill Naruto after abducting him. Hiruzen started before both clan heads let out a blast of ki. "Where is the bastard? He'll be brain dead when I'm through with him," Inoichi yelled. Hiruzen shook his head and said, "He's dead." Naruto's Jiongu activated and stole his still beating heart. Hayashi was confused. Wouldn't his Sharingan warn him of any attack? "I suspect that he didn't have it activated. Daichi only used his Sharingan on foes who he considered worthy," Weasel explained. "A stroke of luck then," Hayashi said. "I suppose that Naruto is in shock because he saw the heart being stolen?" Inoichi asked. Hiruzen nodded and said, "Yes, I want you to enter his mind and try to help him get over it. He should never have to go through this at such a young age." Inoichi nodded and made a few hand seals before placing his hand on Naruto's forehead and closing his eyes. Naruto's mindscape. Inoichi opened his eyes and saw that he was standing in what appeared to be a dimly lit sewer. "This isn't as bad as I thought it would be," the Yamanaka head thought as he looked around. The appearance of Naruto's mind was a little disturbing to him though since it reflected how Naruto felt. His own mind was a nice and peaceful forest, and his daughter Ino's was a field of flowers. Naruto's mind only showed that he was lonely and depressed. Inoichi then decided to walk deeper into Naruto's mind in order to find him. After what felt like an eternity of walking, he reached a giant cage that had a piece of paper on it with the kanji for seal on it. "Is this what I think it is?" Inoichi thought as he peered inside. He was met with a giant red eye that lazily stared at him. "You're not my jailer," a booming voice said as Inoichi realized what he was seeing. "Kei Kyuubi," Inoichi gasped as he saw the Biju fully illuminated behind the cage. The only thing that confused him was the fact that he only had 5 tails and what appeared to be the stump of a 6th. "I know what you're wondering, what happened to my tails, right?" Kyuubi asked, to which Inoichi just dumbly nodded. "Remember the night I attacked? When your Hokage used that kinjutsu to save the boy, it drew upon my chakra when you and your allies ran out. Let me tell you, I was left with 2 tails worth of chakra. Why are you being so civil with me?" Inoichi asked. Kyuubi snorted and said, "Because right now, you're the only one who can make sure that my jailer doesn't become a brain-dead idiot. If you want to find him, he's down that hallway." Kyuubi pointed a claw in the direction Naruto's consciousness had retreated to. "Thank you," Inoichi said as he began walking down the hallway. Kyuubi said nothing as he watched the Yamanaka go to help his jinchūriki. Inoichi walked down the white hallway until he reached a door. Seeing that it was the only way to go, he opened the door and was blinded by a bright light. When he opened his eyes, he saw that he was at one of the training grounds. This must be where Naruto was taken to before, Inoichi mused as he walked and saw the events that happened when Naruto was abducted. Inoichi was then blinded by a bright light before he saw that the events were repeating themselves over and over again. Having enough of this, the Yamanaka head walked towards Naruto and cut the ropes holding him in place, stopping the memory. "Who are you?" Naruto asked, shivering in fear. Inoichi, seeing how frightened he was, knelt down in front of him and gave him a friendly smile. my name is Inoichi Yamanaka, and I came into your mind to help you. Me. Naruto was confused. This stranger wanted to help him. Most strangers just hated him for no reason at all. Yes, I understand that you are feeling very scared right now, Inoichi said. IIKK killed someone, Naruto said as he began shaking again. Inoichi sighed and said, yes you did, and you're never going to get over it. But you have to understand, if you didn't defend yourself, you would have been either seriously hurt or dead. Naruto stared at him in shock as he continued, people never get over their first kill, but you have to find a way to move on. People make hobbies to try and do it. A person I know is always late to any meeting, do you know why? Naruto shook his head. Because that's how he copes with his problems. I think I understand what you're saying, Naruto said. Inoichi smiled and said, good, now how about we go back to the real world? The Hokage is very worried about you. And I know you have some questions for him. Naruto nodded and Inoichi placed his hand on his forehead and both of them closed their eyes. Sandame's office. Both of the male blondes opened their eyes to see that they were back in the Hokage's office. Naruto looked and saw Hiruzen speaking with the blonde woman that found him when he was alone, a person with white eyes, and a teenager in a mask. We're gone for 5 minutes and you forget about us already? Inoichi asked as he gained the attention of everyone in the room. Naruto-kun. Hiruzen shouted as he appeared next to his surrogate grandson. Hi Gigi. Naruto said as he gave the old man a hug. He then released the Hokage and saw the blonde woman before she scooped him up in a bone-crushing hug. You're alright. The woman cried as she continued to smother Naruto. Breathing. Naruto gasped out as his face turned blue. The woman realized that she was choking him and quickly let go. Naruto took a deep breath and got his breathing back under control. Hi pretty lady. I'm sorry I don't know your name, Naruto said. Tsunade chuckled and said, my name's Tsunade, don't you remember me? I was the one who found you when you were living in the alleyway. Naruto scrunched up his face in thought for a moment before saying, I think I remember you, you look familiar. Thank you for helping me get a home. Naruto, Hiruzen started, do you want to talk about what happened earlier? Hearing this, Naruto's face fell. Yeah, what were those things coming out of my arm? Hiruzen sighed and said, to explain it clearly, I would have to talk about the day of your birth. We had just survived the Kyuubi attack and were recovering. We had discovered an enemy spy who was attempting to leave Konoha with the information that we were at our weakest. We had him on the run before he'd picked you up from one of my shinobi who was taking you to the hospital and used you as a hostage. We had confronted him and made a deal. You would be released and the ninja would go free. However, he had sliced you where your stitching was before dropping you and attempting to flee, but an Anbu was able to kill him. In order to save you, I was forced to use a kinjutsu that the Shadaime stole from Takigakur when they attempted to assassinate him. What kind of jutsu? Naruto asked. It's known as Jiongu. It makes you the host of thread-like tendrils and gives you a wide range of powerful abilities, Hiruzen said. So when I become a ninja, I'll be a super ninja? Naruto asked, sparkles in his eyes. Everyone, except Weasel, chuckled at his statement. Hiruzen said, well, you'll be a strong ninja. Just think of yourself as someone who holds a unique Kekkei Genkai. So what can I do with Gyo? Jin, whatever it's called. Naruto asked. It's called Jiongu. Jiongu. And you can do whatever you want with the tendrils since they respond to either your will, or they can act automatically when you're in danger, Hiruzen said. Wow. Can it do anything else? Naruto was bouncing on his feet now. Sandaime sighed and said, there's one more thing that was listed in the scroll, but I don't know if you'll like it. Why not? Is it really bad? Naruto asked, getting a little scared now. No, it's just that you might be disturbed by this, Hiruzen said before explaining the last part of Jiongu. You can take the hearts of your enemies and steal all of their abilities and elemental nature. Like I did before. Naruto whispered. Yes, but this part of the ability has a positive effect for you, Hiruzen said. Naruto looked at him in confusion. What would be good about taking people's hearts? By stealing people's hearts, you can become like a cat, meaning that you will have multiple lives, Hiruzen explained. So, I could still live even if I die? Naruto asked. Yes, but you will have to sacrifice a heart in the process. So you will want to be careful and try not to lose all your hearts, Hiruzen said. Naruto then looked at him and smiled. So can you teach me how to use it? Hiruzen smiled at Naruto's attitude and said, of course, that was what I wanted to do after I told you about this. And these people in the room are going to help you today. Naruto turned and saw Hayashi observing him before he jumped behind Tsunade and screamed, "Ah! It's another man with scary white eyes." Another, was the thought that went through the heads of most of the room's occupants. Naruto, when did you see someone with scary white eyes? Hiruzen asked, sending an apologetic look at Hayashi who waved it off. It was when I went to the park last week. Naruto started. Ayame-ne-chan was sick, so Ichiraku's was closed for the day. I turned the corner and bumped into a man with those eyes. He demanded that I apologize, and when I said that he was the one who bumped me, he poked me in the arm and I couldn't move it. I went to yell at him and his eyes grew big and he glared at me before I ran back home. Well, it seems like Naruto didn't have a good first meeting with the Hyuga clan, Inoichi said. Hayashi sighed and knelt down to Naruto's level. I hold no ill will against you, Uzumaki-san. I can understand that members of my clan can be difficult at times. I will take care of the issue when I find out who it was that attacked you. Naruto stared at Hayashi for a moment before saying, okay. But I have a question, how are you going to help me with my Jiongu? My clan possesses a Kekkei Genkai called the Byakugan. It allows us to see a person's chakra network and it lets us see far away and through objects, Hayashi explained. What about him? Naruto asked, pointing at Weasel. You may remove your mask, Sandame said. Weasel reached up and took his mask off, revealing himself to the group. He had dark eyes like Daichi and had lines running down the bridge of his nose. This is Itachi Uchiha, a prodigy of the Uchiha clan, Hiruzen said. So he's going to use his Sharingan? Tsunade asked. What's that? Naruto asked as he listened. Hiruzen turned to the young blonde and said, the Sharingan, like the Byakugan, is a Kekkei Genkai that is associated with the eyes. It allows the user to see chakra, cast powerful genjutsus, and predict someone's movements. A more noticeable feature of the Sharingan is that it can copy any ninjutsu it sees, as long as it isn't associated with anyone else's Kekkei Genkai. That sounds almost as cool as Jiongu. Naruto said. Almost. Itachi raised an eyebrow at this. Well, if I took the heart of someone who had just that you can't copy, that would make me better than you, right? Naruto asked. Everyone was shocked. He had figured out the one thing that he could do that the Sharingan couldn't. Itachi chuckled and said, yes, that would make you better than me. Now let's get started. Naruto, come here, Hiruzen said, beckoning Naruto to him. Naruto jogged over and stood before the Hokage. First, we're going to have you access your chakra. Hiruzen started as Hayashi and Itachi activated their Byakugan, Sharingan to observe the blonde jinchūriki. How do I do that? Naruto asked. Hiruzen thought of the best way to word it for the boy. Do you feel a warm feeling in your gut? Naruto nodded. You need to try to grab that feeling and pull it to the surface. Try to make it flow through you. It becomes easier if you put your hands into this seal. He showed Naruto the ram seal. After correcting his mistakes in making the seal, Naruto attempted to draw out his chakra. He felt that warm feeling like the Hokage said and tried to pull it to the surface. The problem was that because he was a jinchūriki, He had far more chakra than a normal person his age, so it was like pulling a boulder out of a hole meant for a pebble. Come out already. Naruto growled as he pulled harder. Surprisingly, that thought somehow made Naruto able to drag his chakra to the surface. When he finally got it out, Hiashi and Itachi had to turn off their dujutsu because they weren't expecting there to be so much chakra. What's wrong? Tsunade asked as she saw both males rub their eyes. I wasn't expecting so much chakra. It nearly disoriented me for a moment, Hayashi said. As am I, Itachi said as he blinked rapidly to get the spots out of his vision. Sorry. Naruto said, uncertain of what to do. There's no need for apologies, Naruto-san, Itachi said. Indeed, we just didn't expect you to have so much chakra, Hayashi put his 2 cents in. Is that a good thing? Naruto asked. It's a very good thing. A ninja who has more chakra is able to perform more jutsu, maybe more powerful ones, Hiruzen said. Ha! I knew I was awesome. Naruto cheered. It's Kushina with Minato's looks, were the thoughts of everyone except Itachi. Once Naruto calmed down, Hiruzen then tried to get him to do the next lesson. Now that you've got access to your chakra, we should try to get you to control your Jiongu to some degree, Hiruzen said. But I don't think that it would be a good idea to try it here. Why not? I'm ready to go, Naruto declared. Hiruzen chuckled at the blonde's enthusiasm and said, that's why we have training grounds. Tsunade, can you take over trying to get his Jiongu activated? I'm afraid I can't since I'm behind on my work. Hiruzen glared at the pile of paperwork that was mocking him with its height. Tsunade sighed and said, alright sensei, I'll tell you about our progress later. You men follow me to training ground 27. She then grabbed Naruto's shoulder and vanished in a shunshin. The rest of them followed, leaving Hiruzen alone. He then pulled out a little orange book and flipped it to a certain page before giggling pervertedly. Oh Kanoko-chan, you're so dirty. Training ground 27. Tsunade appeared in a puff of smoke with a stumbling Naruto. Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick. Naruto ran over to a bush where he proceeded to introduce the shrub to his eaten breakfast. Tsunade's sweat dropped and thought, maybe I should have just jumped here instead. You alright Gaki? Why yeah, that was just uncomfortable, Naruto said as he leaned on a tree for support. I remember when Jiraiya-sensei taught us the shunshin. Minato was the only one who was able to keep his lunch down the longest, Hayashi said as he and the other appeared behind Tsunade. So how am I gonna do this? Naruto said as he recovered. Well, Tsunade started as she pulled out a small scroll, opened it, and began to read from it. First you have to gain control of the tendrils that are in your body. So just close your eyes and try to feel them as they move throughout you. Naruto did as instructed and after a few minutes of concentrating, he opened his eyes and voiced his frustrations. I can't feel anything. It's just not there, Naruto complained. Try fluctuating your chakra, Itachi said as he activated his Sharingan. Naruto just gave him a funny look, not understanding what he wanted him to do. Itachi, realizing his mistake, said, what I want you to do is, make your chakra move around wildly to try and get a reaction out of the Jiongu. Naruto nodded his head and closed his eyes. This time he made his chakra move around in an erratic manner before he felt it start to move to his right forearm. His arm then felt a little numb and heard a few gasps. He opened his eyes to see that several tendrils were moving in and out of his forearm without leaving any sort of mark that they had emerged when they went back in. Awesome! Naruto shouted as he saw his progress. I didn't expect him to do it so quickly, Inoichi said. He's just like Minato, able to get the gist of any technique in only a few tries, Hayashi thought as he watched Naruto make his tendrils dance through the air, making shapes or animals. I think I've got the hang of this. Naruto said. Well, you can use what sensei wrote down as the basic control, Tsunade said as she read the scroll. When you have a better control over it and are a little older, you can start on some of the complicated stuff. Ah, I want to work on it now. Naruto whined. Yet, he's got Kushina's attitude. Always wanting to do the hard stuff right away, Hiyashi thought, silently chuckling to himself. I think that you've done enough work for today, now how about I treat you to some ramen? Tsunade said the magic words. Ramen. Naruto yelled as he clung to Tsunade's leg. To Ichiraku's. Alright. Just get off. Tsunade yelled. Naruto sighed as he leaned against the tree he was using as a target. The bark was littered with slash marks and punctures, like a bunch of other trees that were in the area. He was working hard mastering his Jiongu and making new ways to fight with it. He had made a bunch of new attacks to use, especially with his new ability. He remembered when the Hokage helped him learn this new part of the Jiongu. Flashback 3 months ago. Ah, Naruto-kun, I was expecting you, Hiruzen said as he saw the blonde walk inside. You were? Naruto asked as he entered. Hiruzen smiled and said, yes, I was wondering if you would like to learn another ability of the Jiongu. Don't you know me by now, Gigi? Of course I want to learn a new ability. Naruto shouted as he practically bounced off the walls. Hiruzen chuckled and said, excellent, we'll leave for my personal training area in a few minutes. Why? Why don't we just go now? Naruto asked. I've been signing a lot of papers today and my hands are a little numb. I would like to have some feeling in them before we start training, Hiruzen said as he glared at the pile of finished paperwork. Okay. There was something I had to tell you anyway, Naruto said as he took a seat. What is it? Hiruzen asked. Naruto pulled back the sleeve of his right arm and showed Sandaime that there was stitching in the middle of his forearm. What happened? Hiruzen asked, thinking that Naruto was attacked. Naruto rubbed the back of his head and explained, well, I was thinking about the abilities of my Jiongu and remembered that I could extend my limbs at the stitching. So I was thinking that it would be really cool if I could shoot my arm out at someone. When I tried to do it with my original stitching, it felt really uncomfortable. But then I felt my arm getting tingly and saw that this was happening. Incredible. I thought that you had to be cut for that process to happen, Hiruzen said. Can you make it go back to normal? I mean, can you make that arm normally attached without the stitching? Yeah, but it takes a lot of focus and makes me really tired when I do that, so I decided to leave it there and only take it away when I'm on vacation or something, Naruto said. It's probably his Uzumaki genes or the Kyuubi, Sandaime thought. The scroll didn't say anything about this sort of thing. Naruto, Hiruzen began, you never cease to amaze me. Let's go, this technique is something that I know you're gonna love. Hiruzen then led Naruto to the Hokage's personal training grounds, which was in a cave behind the tower underneath the Hokage monument. There was a waterfall inside the cave and an area filled with weaponry. Wow! Naruto shouted as he saw the training field. Indeed it is very impressive, Hiruzen said. The Shadaime and Nadaime created this training field for all Hokages and their personal apprentices to use. Does this mean that Yondaime trained here? Naruto asked. The Yondaime was his idol, so he was excited to be in an area where the Yondaime trained. Hiruzen went to answer, but found himself at a loss for words. Now that I think about it, Yondaime only trained here twice. Rumor was that he had a secret training ground but nobody knows where it is. Now, before we start on your Jiongu, I'm going to teach you a D-rank Kaden Jutsu, Hiruzen said. You're going to teach me a jutsu? Naruto cried in disbelief. Yes, because you're going to need at least one jutsu for this new ability of the Jiongu, Hiruzen explained. Now this jutsu isn't really that big of an attack, but it's the only one I've got that you probably won't hurt yourself with. But if you do hurt yourself, it won't be too bad. So what's jutsu? Naruto asked, paying close attention. Hiruzen then started to explain the jutsu, the hand seals or uma, inu, and tora. He made the hand seals and took a deep breath before shouting, Kaden, fire bullet jutsu. He shot out a small fireball the size of a tennis ball that impacted against the waterfall, making it steam a little. Wow! Naruto shouted in amazement. In order to do this jutsu correctly, you have to gather chakra in your lungs and mold it into the shape of the fire bullet. Then you take a deep breath and exhale the air after it mixes with your chakra. When you are exhaling, you have to change your chakra into fire, Hiruzen explained. Okay. Naruto cried as he made the hand seals and took in a deep breath. After mixing his chakra, he exhaled while shouting, Kaden, fire bullet jutsu. But instead of a fireball coming out, he coughed out a cloud of smoke. Hiruzen just laughed as Naruto ran over to the small lake and began to take big gulps of water. After about 27 tries, Naruto was able to perform the jutsu correctly. The Sandaime made him do it several more times so he could get used to the chakra flow. Now we're going to make an advancement with your Jiongu, Hiruzen said as he pulled out a sealing scroll. So what am I gonna learn? Naruto asked. Hiruzen chuckled at his enthusiasm and said, You're going to use the Jiongu to make your hearts fight for you. Huh. Naruto didn't understand what he was saying. The Sandaime sighed and said, You can make the threads come out and make a body for the heart you stole to fight alongside you. I still don't get it, Naruto said as he scratched the side of his head. Hiruzen then tried to explain it through another approach, pull off your arm and have a bunch of threads come out. Naruto did as instructed and a fair amount of threads came out and formed a sphere the size of the hat Hiruzen was wearing. Now, can you feel your second heart? Naruto nodded. Try to move it into that sphere. Naruto closed his eyes and concentrated. He felt the heart within his body and willed the threads to move it. He could feel the heart as it went up his arm and towards where his arm detached. Naruto opened his eyes and saw the heart, still covered in crimson threads, as it was absorbed by the sphere. The sphere then shuddered as he began to detach from Naruto and it fell to the floor in a quivering mess. Did I do something wrong? Naruto asked as he started to worry. No, what you need to do now is place your hand on the threads and make the heart go into a mask after I place it on the threads. I'll explain afterwards, Hiruzen said. Naruto nodded and waited for the Hokage to pull out the mask. The Sandaime opened the scroll and pushed some chakra into it, making a mask pop out. It was a fox mask with red markings on it. The mask also had a movable jaw that was filled with sharp teeth. Hiruzen placed the mask on the mass of threads and Naruto placed his hand next to it. Naruto directed the heart to go into the mask, and removed his hand once he felt that the process was done. Now you should have the threads take the shape of whatever animal you want, Hiruzen said. Though, you should have it take the shape of a fox since that's the mask we put on it. Naruto nodded again and focused. The threads began to squirm around before they started to take shape. After a few moments, standing before them was a mass of crimson threads in the shape of a nine-tailed fox. It had rabbit-like ears that were curved, and the fox mask that was placed on it moments before. Wow! I didn't know I could do that. Naruto exclaimed as he watched the construct as it stood there like a statue. It's a special ability that the Jiongu is capable of, Hiruzen began. You can animate the threads that your stolen hearts reside in so they can assist you in battle. However, it can only use the element of the heart that is inside it. This just makes me even more awesome. Naruto shouted as he ran around his new building. Though I have to ask, why make it look like the Kyuubi? Hiruzen asked, getting a little nervous. Simple, I want it to look scary. That way my enemies will be too busy being afraid and I'll be able to beat them up. Naruto told him. Hiruzen sighed, he should have known that that was the reason. End flashback. Naruto had learned to perform his jutsu though it was very hard to do. He failed at it many times until he was able to get it to work correctly. He currently had the mask stitched to his mask by a long line that went across the upper portion of his back towards his right shoulder. Of course, he was forced to go through a small wardrobe change because of his new additions. Thankfully, Hiruzen had his personal tailor make the clothes for the blonde. He was now wearing a specially made vest that left his back bare so his mask creature could get out faster. It was black with a red swirl on his chest and dark orange flames on the bottom of the vest. To cover up his mask and stitching, he wore a black trench coat that had a belt tied at the waist. He was wearing black ninja pants with ambush shin guards attached to them. On his feet were his blue sandals. Naruto decided to take a walk through the forest and enjoy the relaxing breeze. As Naruto walked through the forest, he could see the shapes of some people that were in the distance. As he crept closer, he could hear what they were saying. "So you're a member of the Hyuga clan," a male voice said. Naruto got closer and saw 3 boys about 2 years older than him surrounding a little girl that was his age. He couldn't get a good view of her, but she appeared to have dark blue hair and was dressed in some formal robes. "Why yes I am," a soft, timid voice, probably the girl's, replied. "Oh, do you think that we're not worthy of your attention?" A second male asked. No, I didn't say that," the girl trailed off. "Hey guys, let's show her that we're better than her stuck-up clan," the first male's voice suggested. "Yeah," the other 2 agreed. The next thing Naruto knew, they were pushing the small girl around. Stop it!" the girl cried. But alas, her pleas fell on deaf ears. "That's enough," Naruto said as he stepped into the clearing. The boys stopped harassing the girl and let her fall to the floor. She looked up to see her savior, but Naruto wasn't looking at her yet. He would do so when he was sure that these bullies were going to leave. "Hey, this is the kid my parents said to stay away from," the third bully said. "Yeah, mine said that he was a demon in disguise," the first one whispered. "Demon. But he looks like a regular person," the girl thought as she stared at Naruto. "If you have to pick on someone younger than you, then you are really pathetic," Naruto said. This angered the boys and the leader stepped forward. "Come on guys, there's one of him and 3 of us, we can take him." "Yeah, you're right." The 3 of them then charged Naruto. Naruto sighed and said, "Just because there's more of you, it doesn't mean that you'll win." Then he got to work cleaning up the garbage. He grabbed the fist of the first bully that came flying towards him and threw him over his shoulder. He sidestepped the second bully and tripped him before he ducked under the third one's punch and elbowed him in the gut, making him double over in pain. "You're outclassed. Get out of here," Naruto said as he glared at them. "If I see you bullying anyone else again, then we're going to have problems." With that, the 3 bullies scrambled to their feet and ran away. Naruto then turned to the girl to see her watching him in awe. "You okay?" Naruto asked as the cold look faded from his eyes to be replaced with a caring blue. Now that he was sure that the bullies had left, he was able to get a good look at her. She was around his age with blue hair that was in a home-style cut that had 2 bangs framing her face. Her eyes were an attractive color of lavender that reminded Naruto of the moon. "Why yes." The girl squeaked as she got out of her stupor, blushing red. Naruto just raised an eyebrow at her antics before shaking his head and extending a hand. "Let me help you up," Naruto said. "Oh. Thank you," the girl said as she took his hand as he gently pulled her up. She dusted off her robes before bowing to Naruto. Thank you for saving me," she said. Naruto just waved her off and said, "It's no problem, I couldn't just let them push around someone. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, what's your name?" "My name is Hinata Hyuga," Hinata said. "Hyuga. Where have I heard that name before?" Naruto wondered. It's one of the most prestigious clans in Konoha, Hinata said. "Now I remember. I met that Hayashi guy in Gigi's office last year." Naruto realized. "You met Tusama?" Hinata asked. That was your dad. Wow. Small world, Naruto said. I guess so, Hinata said. Hey, Naruto began, do you want to be my friend? Why yes, would love to be your FR friend Naruto-san, Hinata said with a small smile and blush. Don't call me, san, it makes me feel old, Naruto said. Hinata looked down and said, I'm so sorry. Would why you like me to see call you en Naruto-kun? Yeah, that sounds better. Naruto said with a grin. Hinata-sama. Get away from him. Naruto turned around just in time to get an open palm slap to the stomach, sending him flying. When he opened his eyes, he saw that it was a young man with brown hair spiked backwards. He was wearing a black kimono and had the bulging eyes of the Byakugan. Seeing that he was out of his league, Naruto leapt to his feet and ran away. Ko-san. Why did you do that? He helped me when some BB bullies were bothering me. Hinata cried. Don't be fooled by Hinata-sama's lies. That thing was trying to let you lower your guard so it could harm you, Ko said as he began to pull the young girl away, despite her protests. Hyuga compound. As soon as Hinata was brought home, she ran to the garden where she knew her mother would be. Her mother would know what to do, she was really smart about things like this. Inside the Hyuga garden, Hitomi was sitting on a bench rubbing her slightly bulged stomach. She was already 3 months pregnant with her second child. Keika-chan. Hinata cried as she ran towards her mother. Hinata-chan. Hitomi was surprised to see her daughter in such a state. The young girl leapt into her mother's lap and clung to her robes tightly. What's wrong my dear? WW was Keiko-san. He had attacked a boy who saved me fr from some BB bullies, Hinata said as she clung even tighter. Ko did what? Hitomi screamed. Hayashi came running out a minute later, having heard his wife scream. What happened? Hiyashi huffed. Our wonderful bodyguard for Hinata decided to save her from a harmless boy that had saved her from some ruffians, Hitomi said. Hinata, can you tell us about what happened? Hiyashi asked. So Hinata told her the story of how she was rescued from some bullies by Naruto, only for him to be attacked by Ko when they were talking. Hiyashi, having heard enough, got up and went to search for Ko. After a branch member brought Ko to his office, Hayashi looked him straight in the eye. Good evening Ko, Hiyashi greeted. Good evening Hiyashi-sama, Ko greeted back. How was your walk through the village with Hinata today? The Hyuga head asked. It was fine, I kept her away from all trouble, Ko told him. Hayashi furrowed an eyebrow and said, really? Because I heard a different story. He then sent Ko a harsh glare and said, she said that you both got separated and told me how she was assaulted by some ruffians when she was in the forest. And I defended her from the threat, Ko said. Did you now? Hiyashi asked in a sarcastic tone. She told me that she was rescued from 3 boys 2 years older than her by a young boy. A young boy that you assaulted without warning. There wasn't a group there, just a boy that was harassing her, Ko said, spitting out the word, boy, like it was a poison. Hayashi just sent him a glare and said, so I should just disregard what my daughter told me and believe you instead, correct? That thing probably made an illusion to try and gain her trust before it, Ko said. Enough. Hiyashi yelled, I will not sit here and let you lie to my face. But I am not lying Hiyashi-sama. Ko protested. I have met the Uzumaki boy and have seen that he is a well-mannered boy when he meets his superiors unless they allow him to do otherwise, Hayashi said. I've seen that he has pure intentions for the village, a village that spits on the sacrifice the Yondaime made. Before Ko could say anything, Hayashi said to him, tomorrow you will accompany me, my wife, and Hinata to Uzumaki-san's apartment, where you will apologize for your behavior against him. Maybe if you spend some time with him you will see how wrong the village is when they speak about him. With that, Hiyashi dismissed Ko. The younger Hyuga could only walk out of his office in mild shock. He was going to spend tomorrow with that thing. Tomorrow Naruto's apartment. Naruto sat at his table as he finished making his breakfast. A bowl of ninja flakes and a nice cold glass of fresh milk that he store-bought from the store. He was too lazy to change into his regular clothes right away, so he just sat there in his pajamas. I wonder if I'll see that Hinata girl again, Naruto thought as he ate another spoonful of cereal. He was shaken out of his thoughts by the sound of someone knocking at the door, making him narrow his eyes in suspicion. Only 3 people knew where he lived. The Hokage, Tsunade, and her apprentice Shizune, and they never visited him in the morning. So he slowly crept towards the door and had his threads out and formed them into a blade. Who is it? Naruto asked. He wanted to make sure if it was someone he knew. Naruto-kun. It's me, Hinata, he heard. Naruto took a small peek outside through his door and saw that it was indeed the Hyuga girl from yesterday. But behind her were 3 people. He recognized Hiashi and the Hyuga that he had the pleasure of meeting yesterday, but he didn't know who the woman was. Naruto thought that it was Hinata's mother since she had the same hair color as the girl. Give me a minute. Naruto called out as he rushed back towards his room and changed his clothes in record time. After adjusting his trenchcoat, he went back to the front and opened the door. Oh, hello again Hinata-chan, Hiashi-sama, Hyuga-tem, ma'am, Naruto greeted with a smile. Ko was fuming at his new title, but it appeared that nobody else was bothered by it. You deserve it, Hitomi thought while grinning internally. Come on in, I was just about to have breakfast, Naruto said as he walked back inside, his guests following him in, though Ko was a bit reluctant, until Hiashi sent him a look. Do you guys want anything? All I've got is ninja flakes and ramen, Naruto asked as he walked towards his refrigerator. No thank you Naruto-san, we've already had breakfast, Hitomi said. Oh, okay, Naruto said as he turned around and sat in his chair. So why did you come over? I mean, I'm not the type of person to get so many visitors, especially in the morning. Ko here has something that he would like to say to you, Hiashi said as he gave Ko a look that said, be nice or we'll have problems. Ko took a deep breath, he couldn't believe that he was going to do this. I am sorry for attacking you yesterday Uzumaki-san, I thought that you were attacking Hinata-sama, not helping her. Naruto shook his head and said, it's fine, you were just doing your job like I was when I saw her being bothered by those jerks. And what would your job be? Hitomi asked. If I'm gonna be Hokage one day, I have to make sure that there's no more bullying. It's not a nice thing to do, Datbeo. Naruto said. Why you want to be Hokage? Hinata asked. Yeah. The Hokage is the strongest person in the village, so that's a place for me, Naruto told her. Hinashi was indeed thought for a moment before suggesting, Hinata, why don't you and Naruto go and walk through the village for the day? Are really to-sama? Hinata asked, shocked that he would allow this. Hayashi nodded and said, you should take the time to get to know your new friend. Thank you to-sama. Hinata stammered out as she went to the front to put her sandals on. Naruto stared at Hayashi for a while before asking, can you lock the door on your way out? Of course, Hayashi said. Okay. Naruto said as he went to put his sandals on. He then rushed back into his room and placed Gamma-chan in his back pocket before he left with Hinata. Ko, Hiashi started, in order for you to get a better understanding of Naruto, you will tell them and will not interfere with anything unless they are being harmed by civilians or drunken shinobi. Ko looked appalled for a moment before nodding and rushing after the 2 children. Are you sure that's a good idea Hiashi-kun? Hitomi asked. It's the best one I can think of at the moment, Hayashi said. Training Ground 27. Naruto had led the Hyuga heiress towards his personal training grounds. Ko had followed them and was wondering what Naruto was up to. Naruto-kun, why are we here? Hinata asked. This is my personal training grounds, Naruto stated as he waved his arms out. Why we're here is because I want to show you something. What is it? Hinata asked. Can you keep it a secret? Naruto asked. Why yes, ICC can, Hinata said. I'm gonna show you my special jutsu. It's something that I got after I was born, Naruto explained. What kind of J-jutsu? Hinata asked. A kinjutsu. Naruto then went and told her the same story the Sandaime told him when he first discovered the Jiongu. By the time he was finished, Hinata was in tears and hugged him saying that nobody had to go through that. Can I see it? Hinata asked. Sure. Naruto replied as he pulled back the sleeve of his right arm and revealed his detachable limb. He then pulled off his forearm and Hinata watched in amazement as the crimson threads came out and stayed connected to the limb. Hinata then reached out and took a small amount of threads into her hands. It's so soft, like silk, Hinata said in amazement as she continued to observe the material. She then began to giggle as a stray thread danced past her ear, lightly grazing it. What's up? Naruto asked as he heard her giggle. Hinata blushed for a moment before saying, nothing, it just he tickled me little. Naruto then had a playful grin on his face as he thought of something fun to do. So you're ticklish, huh? Why yes, I'm terribly ticklish, Hinata said, not seeing his grin. Why do you ask? Oh no reason, just thought that you might enjoy this. Naruto shouted as he sent his tendrils towards the smaller girl as they began running across her skin. Hinata's eyes went wide before she burst out laughing. Nahaharuto ha ho ho. Ha 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 ha. Please see. It's too muhuhuch. From what I can tell, you're enjoying this. Naruto said as he took off her sandals and began to scribble his fingers over his feet, making her voice go up another octave. Ahahahaha. Pleahahahassee stahahahap. Ikahahant tahahake it anymohohore. Hinata laughed as she flailed her arms and legs in an attempt to get free. Thinking that she had enough, Naruto let her go and retracted his tendrils. Hinata laid there on the floor taking deep breaths, her face flushed a bright pink. So, did you have fun? Naruto asked. Fun? Hinata asked. Yeah, you looked like you needed to smile a bit more, so I discovered the perfect way to get you to do so, Naruto said as he gave her a fox-like grin. Hinata looked at him before giving him a small smile. Why yes, I had little fun. Naruto grinned and said, good, because I have another part of my Jiongu that I want to show you. What is it? Hinata asked. Naruto said nothing as he undid the belt that was tied around his trenchcoat and shrugged it off, revealing the mask that was stitched to his back. Hinata put her hands to her mouth and gasped in shock. Don't worry, this is part of it. Naruto then explained to her how he was able to use the hearts to make creatures to assist him in battle. Let me show you. Naruto then put his hands in the Tora seal and said, Jiongu, activate. The part on his back with the mask began to pulse before the stitching came undone and the mask leapt off with a mass of crimson tendrils attached to it. Once it hit the ground it took the shape of a nine-tailed fox. That's amazing, Hinata said as she watched the fox stand there. Yeah, I can also make it use any fire jutsu I know, Naruto said. Why only fire jutsu? Hinata asked. Because that's the elemental affinity this heart has, Naruto told her. Naruto then looked at the sky and saw that it was around noon. That meant that it was lunchtime. Of course, it also didn't help that his stomach decided to voice its own opinion, making a large growling noise. Naruto blushed in embarrassment as Hinata giggled at him. Does someone want to laugh some more? Naruto asked with a mischievous grin as he waved his tendrils through the air. Hinata giggled a little as she stepped back. That's not necessary, Hinata said. Naruto chuckled and said, let's go and get some lunch, do you like ramen? I haven't had it be before, Hinata said as she poked her fingers together. When she didn't hear Naruto say anything, she looked up at him to see that he had a shocked look on his face. You've never had ramen? Naruto asked. Hinata just meekly nodded and Naruto let out a scream of horror before he took her hand into his own and began racing towards Ichiraku's. After he got his fire heart back into his body. Eep! Was all Hinata could say as she was forced to follow Naruto into the village. Ko was silently following them while trying to prevent himself from rushing the boy. After racing into the village, Naruto stopped in front of the ramen stand and yelled inside. Old man Ichiraku. We've got an emergency. Naruto yelled. Tsuki ran out to see Naruto with a panting Hinata next to him. What is it? Did the Hokage limit you to only eating one bowl? Tsuki asked in horror. Worse. Naruto cried. She has never had ramen in her life. Tsuki looked at Hinata with some horror written on his face. Ayame. We need a bowl of miso ramen now. With that, he rushed back into the kitchen, leaving the two kids alone at the booth. After 3 minutes of waiting, Tsuki brought out a steaming bowl of ramen and placed it in front of Hinata. She picked up her chopsticks and took a small amount of the noodles into her mouth and swallowed them. Her eyes lit up and she began to eat more of them at a faster pace. This is delicious. Hinata exclaimed softly. Naruto let out a sigh of relief and said, Thank Kami, you were suffering from a severe case of ramen deprivation. I don't think that's a real thing, Hinata said. Of course it is. Nobody can survive without ramen. Naruto said. But I haven't eaten ramen and I'm fine, Hinata pointed out. Naruto put on a thinking expression and said, but you can't live without delicious food like ramen. See cinnamon BB buns are delicious to me, Hinata said. Everyone has weird tastes, Naruto said as he went back to devouring 2 bowls at once. After they had lunch, Naruto decided to take Hinata back home. She had to lead the way of course since he had no idea where she lived. Upon reaching the Hyuga compound, the guards kept an eye on Naruto while he and Hinata said goodbye. Hey Hinata, Naruto began, are you going to join the academy next year? Why yes, I'm going to train to become a ninja, the young Hyuga said. Great. Maybe we'll be in the same class, Naruto said. I would like that very much, Hinata said as she poked her fingers together. Well, see you around Hinata. Naruto said. The young Hyuga walked back into her compound and Naruto walked back to his apartment. Ko leapt down from the trees with a thoughtful expression on his face. He entered Hayashi's study where the man was waiting for him. I trust that there were no problems. Hayashi asked. Ko shook his head and said, No Hayashi-sama. Hinata-sama seemed to enjoy her time with Uzumaki-san. Hayashi nodded and asked, Have you seen how the rumors about Naruto-san aren't true? Yes, I even saw that he has a kinjutsu of his own, Ko said. You must never speak about it until Naruto-san makes it known to others, Hayashi said. There are people in this village who would do anything to get their hands on him if they knew. I understand Hayashi-sama, Ko said. 6-year-old Naruto jumped out of bed earlier than usual with a big smile on his face. And why wouldn't he? Today was the day he started attending the academy. A place where he could meet people his age, hopefully they wouldn't glare at him like all the adults would. While he was still friends with Hinata, he wanted to make more friends and expand his social life. Naruto inhaled his breakfast and put on his clothes in record time. He made extra sure that his trenchcoat would hide all his stitches so nobody would ask questions. Before he walked out the door, he remembered the conversation he had with the Hokage last week. Flashback Sandame's office. You wanted to see me, Gigi? Naruto asked as he sat down in the chair across from Hiruzen. Yes Naruto-kun, Hiruzen confirmed. You're starting the academy next week, right? Yeah. And I'm gonna be the best ninja there. Naruto proclaimed. Hiruzen sighed and said, "That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about." "What's up?" Naruto asked. "I don't want you to be the best ninja in the academy," Hiruzen bluntly said. As predicted, Naruto exploded. "What? Why shouldn't I be the best? I want everyone to know how awesome I really am." Hiruzen sighed and told him, "That's the thing, if everyone knew how tough you really were, then you wouldn't be a real ninja." Naruto was surprised. "What are you talking about? A real ninja hides his skills from his enemies," Hiruzen explained. "A real ninja is deceptive and sneaky, always hiding in the shadows while hunting his prey. If you were to show everyone your abilities, then they might find ways to counter it." Naruto thought it over for a moment before saying, "So you want me to be weak so people will underestimate me?" Hiruzen shook his head and said, "I didn't say that you should be the weak one. You should just be an average student. That way you won't be weak, and you won't attract attention to yourself." "Okay, Gigi. I'll make you proud," Naruto said as he got up and left the room. "Besides, if you showed everyone your abilities, I wouldn't be able to protect you. Not until you become a ninja," Hiruzen thought as he lit his pipe for a smoke. Flashback end. Naruto shook his head and got back to reality as he looked at the clock. He saw that he had a little over an hour to get there. So he tightened the belt on his trenchcoat and grabbed his aviator goggles. They were a gift from Hinata as a thank you for saving her from the bullies all those months ago. After locking his front door, Naruto jumped down his stairs and leapt into the street before running towards the academy. As he ran, he could see the glares and looks of disgust on the civilians' faces. He just shrugged them off and continued running. After a half hour of running through the streets, Naruto arrived at the main gate of the academy. He looked up in awe of the large building, the place where he would learn to become a shinobi. He could feel his threads reacting to his excitement with all their wiggling. He calmed down and walked into the building, but couldn't keep the grin off of his face. Naruto walked to the front desk where a young woman was reading a magazine. "Hi. Can you tell me where the classroom for the new students is?" Naruto asked. "Down the hall and to your left, it's room 15, the woman said without looking up from her magazine. Naruto said thanks and jogged down the hallways. He arrived at the room and opened the door before walking inside. The room was fairly simple. There was a teacher's desk in the front, a blackboard behind it. The desks were arranged in a rising position where the teacher could see all the students. There were children his age inside the room already sitting down and chatting with each other. 8 of them stood out to him however. 3 girls and 5 boys. The first boy was sitting towards the back of the was wearing a gray coat with a color that hid everything under the black shades he wore. He had spiky brown hair like his own. Naruto thought he spied a small beetle crawling across his hand, but shook it off. The next boy was a round boy with a bag of chips in his hands. He was wearing a green jacket with spiral markings on his cheeks. He had spiky brown hair on his head. The third boy was sleeping on his desk. As far as Naruto could see, he had his hair styled like a pineapple. He was wearing a gray shirt with a clan marking on it. Naruto thought that he was just tired from not getting enough sleep. After all, Naruto woke up every 3 hours because of his excitement last night. The fourth boy was wearing a gray hoodie with the hood down, revealing his shaggy brown hair. He had slitted pupils and red fang-like markings on his cheeks. Sitting on his head was a small white puppy. The final boy was sitting in the corner of the room with a bored expression on his face. He was wearing a blue shirt with a crest on the back of it that looked like a fan. He had hair that was spiked in the appearance of a duck's butt. Naruto had to stifle a laugh as he thought about that. Finally he looked at the girls that stood out. The first one was a pink-haired girl with a red bow in her hair. She was wearing a red shirt and black shorts and was staring dreamily at the boy with the duck butt hair. The second girl was with platinum blonde hair. She was wearing a light purple shirt and pants that reached her knees and had a green clip in her hair. Naruto caught her staring at the girl with pink hair with a sign of depression before she turned back and stared at the same boy, but not as longingly as the first girl. The third girl was someone Naruto instantly recognized. It was Hinata. Naruto smiled as he jumped up the steps to his friend. Seeing that she was spaced out, Naruto poked her in the side to get her attention. Hinata was thinking about whether or not Naruto would be in her class. She hoped that he would. He was her only friend that was her own age after all. She was jolted out of her thoughts by a poke to her side. She practically jumped out of her seat while biting her lip to hold in her bubbling giggles. She turned her head and saw the person she was thinking about. Naruto-kun. Hinata softly cried. Hi Hinata-chan. Naruto greeted me. He then sat down in the chair next to her while giving her a large grin. Are you excited about being here? Naruto asked. I'm a little nervous about this, Hinata admitted. Don't worry about it. You're gonna do great. Naruto told her. Hinata blushed at the praise and just played with her fingers. It was then that the classroom door opened and two shinobi stepped inside. They were wearing Chunin's uniform and were carrying boxes full of books. One had his brown hair in a pineapple style with a scar across the bridge of his nose. The other one just had silvery blue hair that fell to his shoulders. Hello everyone. The one with the scar said as he set the boxes on the desk and faced the class. My name is Iruka Yumino, one of your instructors for your classes at the academy, Iruka said. I'm Mizuki Tuji, another one of your instructors, the other man said. Now before we start with getting you all settled in for your classes, why don't we all introduce ourselves? I'll call you in alphabetical order and you'll come to the front and tell us your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future, Iruka explained. First up, Shino Aburame. The boy with the large coat walked to the front of the room and faced everyone. My name is Shino Aburame. I like most types of insects. I dislike people who kill insects for no reason. I like to collect and observe different types of insects. My goal for the future is to one day become the Aburame clan head. Thank you Shino. The Aburame heir walked back to his desk quietly. Next up, Choji Akamichi. The round boy walked up to the front of the room after he left his bag of chips on his desk and faced everyone with a nervous grin on his face. Hi. I'm Choji Akamichi. I like to eat different foods, and my friend Shikamaru. I dislike people who discriminate against the Akamichi clan because of how we maintain our jutsu, and people who make fun of me for being big-boned. My hobbies are relaxing with Shikamaru and testing my Ka-chan's cooking. My dreams are to become the next head of the Akamichi clan. After Choji walked back to his seat, Iruka looked at the attendance board and said who was next, Sakura Haruno. The girl with the pink hair walked to the front of the room and stood before the class with a look of superiority around her, like she was the boss of the classroom. My name's Sakura Haruno. My hobbies are. And my dreams for the future are. Every time she paused, she would look at the boy with the duck butt hair and squeal, making the boy groan and slam his head into his desk. And your dislikes? Iruka asked, already crying on the inside because of the fact that this was a fangirl. People who are stupid. Sakura roared. After she walked back to his desk, Iruka called out the next name. Hinata Hyuga. After some words of encouragement from Naruto, Hinata walked to the front of the room and faced the class. Hello, I'm Hinata Hyuga. I like SW sweet foods, and SS spending time with my friend and Naruto. I dislike people who look down on others and seafood. My hobbies are flat flower pressing and GG gardening. My reams for the FF future is to see change the W way of the Hyuga C clan. After walking back to her seat quickly, the next name was called up. Kiba Inuzuka. The boy with the dog raced down to the front and faced everyone with a feral grin. I'm Inuzuka, and this is Akamaru. I like spending time with the dogs at my clan compound and my buddy here. I dislike cats and people who hate dogs. My hobbies are playing with Akamaru and training. My dream for the future is to become one of the best ninja in the village. Shikamaru Nara. When nobody came up, Uruka looked around the room until he saw the sleeping boy. Shikamaru Nara. Uruka yelled. He was about to yell again when he saw Choji raise his hand to stop him. Choji then turned to Shikamaru and said, Shikamaru, your mother's here. As fast as lightning, Shikamaru jumped out of his seat while looking around fearfully. When he didn't see his mother, he looked at Choji with a bored expression. Choji, that was cruel and heartless, Shikamaru told him. Now that you're awake, maybe you would like to introduce yourself to the class. Uruka asked with a look on his face that just dared him to say no. Troublesome, Shikamaru muttered as he trudged to the front. I'm Shikamaru Nara. I like relaxing and playing shogi. I dislike troublesome things like extra work. My hobbies are cloud watching and resting. I don't really have a goal for the future, it's too troublesome to think of one. Most of the class snickered at his introduction while Uruka and Mizuki just sighed. They already knew to expect this from Nara, but it was worse than they thought. Uruka just shook his head and called out the next student. Sasuke Uchiha. The boy with the duck butt hair walked to the front of the classroom and looked at them with an air of superiority around him. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, a member of the great Uchiha clan. I like my family and onigiri. I dislike those who are weak and pathetic. My hobbies are training to get stronger. My goal is to one day surpass my brother Itachi. Uruka nodded as he watched Sasuke walk back to his seat. He looked down at the sheet and bit back a groan when he saw the next name. He considered skipping over it but decided that it wasn't worth the trouble. Naruto Uzumaki. Neither Naruto or Hinata missed the small hint of disgust when Uruka called him out. After being Naruto's friend, Hinata was able to see all the looks of hatred and disgust that were thrown Naruto's way. She asked him why they did that, but Naruto truthfully told her that he doesn't know. The young Uzumaki jumped to the front of the room and faced the class with a big fox-like grin. My name's Naruto Uzumaki, Datbayo. I like ramen and spending time with my friend Hinata-chan. I dislike mean people and those who think they're better than others. My hobbies are training and hanging out with Hinata-chan. My goal for the future is to become Hokage. As if anyone would let you rule the village you tried to destroy. Were the thoughts of the two academy instructors. Once he was back in his seat, Uruka called up the last name of the list. Ino Yamanaka. The blonde-haired girl walked to the front of the room and faced the class. I'm Ino Yamanaka. I like all types of flowers and spending time at my family's flower shop. I dislike mean people and idiots who think they're better than me just because I'm a girl. My hobbies are working at the flower shop and helping my parents. My dreams for the future are to win the affections of Sasuke-kun. Sasuke just banged his head into the desk again, making a nice indentation of his face on the wood. Uruka could see that she was a fangirl, but wasn't lost to the forbidden side of the kunoichi just yet. A simple push in the right direction would help her. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you all. I hope that you all achieve your goals and become strong shinobi who will work to make Konoha prosper, Uruka said. Now then, how many of you know a jutsu? Naruto, Sasuke, Hinata, and Shikamaru raised their hands. Okay then, come up to the front of the room. The four kids did so and Uruka continued. Can you demonstrate them to the class please? I'll go first, that way it won't be too troublesome, Shikamaru said as he stepped forward and faced Naruto. He then held his hands in the Nei seal and everyone watched as his shadow went and connected to Naruto. Shadow possession success, Shikamaru droned as he rested his hands at his side, making Naruto do the same. Hey! What gives? Naruto cried as he struggled to control his movements. Shikamaru then reached behind him, making Naruto reach behind him. He then made Naruto grab the ruler on the desk and use it to poke Sasuke. The Uchiha growled and ripped the ruler away from Naruto while giving him a glare. "Why are you glaring at me? He's the one making him do this." Naruto protested. Sasuke then went and glared at Shikamaru, who released the jutsu and stepped back. "Troublesome, I would have made him poke Hinata, but then she would have gotten mad at me, and an angry woman is more troublesome than you being angry," Shikamaru explained. "Okay, enough with that, now let's get on to seeing what the others have to show," Uruka interjected. "I suggest that we go outside for my jutsu, it's big," Sasuke told him. Uruka nodded and said to the class, "We're going outside to view the rest of the jutsu." The class cheered as they stampeded out the door, leaving behind a large dust cloud. After clearing away the dust, Uruka and Mizuki saw that Naruto and Hinata were still inside. Naruto was patting Hinata's back since some of the dust got into her mouth. When she was done coughing, the two raced outside with the rest of the class. Uruka and Mizuki just performed a shunshin to get there. "Okay Sasuke, perform your jutsu," Uruka said once he was sure that everyone was outside. Sasuke nodded and performed several hand seals before taking a deep breath and declaring, "Kaden, Great Fireball Jutsu." A large fireball shot out of Sasuke's mouth and went into the sky where it evaporated into the clouds. "Impressive Sasuke," Uruka said as he and most of the class cheered. The ones who didn't cheer were Shino, because it roasted a few insects in the sky, Shikamaru, because it was too troublesome, Hinata, because Hyugas don't like Uchihas, and Naruto, because he didn't like it. "Alright, Naruto, how about you go next?" Uruka suggested. "Yosh. It's my turn." Naruto cheered as he ran to the front of the class and faced a row of practice targets. He made the correct hand seals and took in a deep breath before crying, "Kaden, Fire Bullet Jutsu." Several fist-sized fireballs flew out of his mouth and impacted against the targets, burning them to pieces. "Don't use our equipment as firewood, you blockhead," Uruka yelled as he whacked Naruto on the head with his clipboard. Naruto held his head in slight pain as the tendrils in his body wiggled around in anger. "Now Hinata, let's see what you can do," Uruka said as he and the class faced the shy girl. She took a deep breath before walking to the front of the class and made a chain of hand seals. "Byakugan." Hinata cried as the veins in her eyes bulged and her Byakugan activated. "Good. You can already activate your dojutsu," Uruka said as he made a mark on his clipboard. I can also perform the E8 trigrams, E8 palms," Hinata said. "Is that so? Use Naruto as an example of what it can do. Consider this punishment for ruining academy equipment," Mizuki said. Surprisingly, neither child had any argument about this. "Don't worry about it Hinata. Just relax and you'll do fine," Naruto reassured her when he saw her apologetic look. Hinata took a deep breath and slipped into the juken. She then darted forward and began to hit Naruto with her pointer and middle fingers. 2 palms. 4 plans. 8 plans. When she was finished, she jumped back and watched as Naruto stumbled forward. She then ran towards him and caught him as he fell down a little. "Wow, you're getting better and better with your training," Naruto exclaimed. Hinata just blushed from the praise and opened up the closed tenketsu. "Now let's go back inside so we can go over what you'll be learning," Uruka said. The class moved back inside, though Hinata had to help Naruto a little since he was still sore from her attack. Once they were back inside, Naruto was dying on the inside. Why? Because from what Uruka and Mizuki were telling them was that most of their classes would consist of going over theories, mathematics, and history. What did theories have to do with becoming a ninja? He did lighten up when he heard that they would be doing some taijutsu sparring every 2 days, and that they would be doing chakra control exercises every day. Kami knows that he needs it desperately. They were let out for lunch an hour later and everyone went to their own corners. Naruto and Hinata sat under one of the trees that was littering the area to eat their lunch. Naruto had brought some of the sushi that Tsunade bought for him every once in a while. Hinata had a bento box that her mother had made for her. So Hinata, when is your sister coming out of your mother? Naruto asked as he popped a sushi roll into his mouth. She said that it's supposed to be next month, Hinata told him as she chewed on some rice. I wonder what it's like to have a little sister, Naruto said as he looked at the sky. Maybe Hanabi will treat why you like one if why you come over often, Hinata suggested. Naruto nodded and chewed on some more sushi before he looked out of the corner of his eye and saw that Hinata looked down for some reason. Naruto hated to see his friend sad for any reason and would do anything to cheer her up. So he sent a small thread stealthily through the grass over to her feet before it slipped inside her sandal and began wiggling around. Hinata gasped as she felt the tickly feeling on her foot. She looked over to Naruto while biting her lip to see him looking away innocently, too innocently. Naruto-kun, what are you doho hoing? Hinata whispered while her shoulders shook from her soft giggles. I have no idea what you're talking about, Hinata-chan, Naruto replied while laughing on the inside. Pleehahistahap Naruto-kun, Hinata managed to giggle out. Naruto complied and retracted the thread, but not before it ran across her toes, causing Hinata to gasp out in surprise. What's got you looking so down? Naruto asked. I was just feeling a little sad for you, Hinata admitted, making Naruto confused. Why me? Naruto asked. Because why you don't have a family like me, Hinata said. Naruto shook his head and said, you don't have to worry about me, it doesn't hurt as much as it used to. Hinata just nodded and continued eating with her friend. After everyone had lunch, they moved into the courtyard where there were fighting rings in the dirt. Uruka and Mizuki were standing before the entire class waiting for everyone to gather around. Okay everyone, we're going to hold taijutsu matches to see how skilled everyone is. When your name is called, step into the arena, Uruka explained to them. You will fight until one of you ends up outside the arena, one of you gives up, or I call the match. The first pair up is Choji and Shikamaru, Mizuki announced as he read the names off of the clipboard. The two friends stepped into the arena, but Choji looked extremely nervous. Uruka-sensei, I don't want to hurt my friend, Choji said. Uruka sighed and said, it's just a taijutsu match, Choji, and I highly doubt anybody here can hurt somebody too much. Naruto just grinned on the inside, too bad nobody knew about his abilities. Shikamaru sighed and said, I forfeit, it would be too troublesome to fight anyway. Uruka sighed and gave the win to Choji. Mizuki just put some marks on his board and called out the next pair. Kiba and Renji. Kiba jumped into the field after he left Akamaru underneath a shady tree. His opponent was a civilian who had a smug look on his face. Didn't want you weak little puppy getting hurt. Renji sneered. Kiba just growled and glared at him. Uruka, not wanting to see an angry Inuzuka get angrier, just started the match. Kiba leapt forward and dealt a punch to Renji's chest and sent him flying. He landed just short of the ring and leapt to his feet with a snarl. Renji ran towards Kiba and sent a sloppy punch at him. Kiba just scoffed at the attack and knocked the punch away before he tripped him and held a fist to Renji's face. Forfeit. Kiba growled. I give up. Renji cried as he looked at Kiba with fear. Winner, Kiba. Uruka declared. The Inuzuka got off of the civilian and walked back to where he left Akamaru and put him back on his head. Uruka then decided to call out the next set of fighters. Sasuke and Naruto. Many of the female portion of the class cheered when they heard Sasuke's name called. Naruto walked into the after getting good luck from Hinata, the only female that didn't cheer for Sasuke. Are you two ready? Uruka asked. Let's get started already. Naruto shouted as he settled into his stance. His knees were bent, the right side of his body was facing Sasuke, and his right arm was positioned in a horizontal angle across from his chest. His left arm was set in the same position, but it was behind his back. HN, was all that Sasuke said as he slipped into the Uchiha's interceptor fist. Begin. Uruka began the fight and stepped back, waiting to see what would happen. Neither of the two boys moved, each one was waiting for the other to start first. Well, what are you waiting for? Sasuke asked. Naruto smirked and said, I'm not gonna make the first move, that would be stupid unless you are absolutely sure that you're going to win. Then I guess I'll start us off, Sasuke said as he darted forward and aimed a punch at Naruto's chest. The blonde boy ducked under Sasuke's outstretched arm and hit Sasuke under his arm, knocking him off balance before Naruto shoved him backwards with a good shoulder to the stomach. Had enough? Naruto asked as he watched Sasuke get his bearings. Naruto was crying on the inside because his poor ears were being assaulted by the loud protests of Sasuke's fangirls. Grr, take this. Sasuke roared as he darted forward and tried to deliver one powerful punch after another. Naruto was able to block most of them, but a couple were able to hit him on his shoulders, and one grazed his cheek. The Uzumaki then fell backwards and used his feet to kick Sasuke in the chest, making him back off for a moment. Naruto took the time to massage his right shoulder while Sasuke was planning his next move. The two of them then darted towards each other again. Wow! They're really going at it! Kiba exclaimed. Yeah, what do you think about this Shikamaru? Choji asked as he ate his chips. Troublesome, I can see that they're really skilled fighters, Shikamaru said. The only one who doesn't look surprised is Hinata. Hey Hinata, doesn't Sasuke look amazing? Sakura asked as she stared at the Uchiha with hearts in her eyes. I'm just as surprised that he's able to keep up with Naruto K-kun, Hinata said. What are you talking about? Sasuke's the best. There's no way he'll lose. Sakura protested, making the surrounding people lose their hearing for a moment. After she regained her hearing, Hinata said, I've sparred with Naruto-kun, he's stronger than how he's fighting right now. Sakura just huffed and went back to watching the fight, or more importantly, watching Sasuke while mentally undressing him. Sasuke was standing on one side of the arena while taking some deep breaths. On the other side, Naruto just stood there, not having even broken a sweat, courtesy of his ungodly stamina. Before either of them could make their next move, Uruka appeared between them. That's enough. We've seen where each of you stand, now let's get to the other fights, Uruka said. Wait a minute. Who's the winner? Naruto asked. Uruka glared at him and said, it's a draw, you were both evenly matched. Sasuke glared at Naruto, but the Uzumaki just ignored him. Just wait buddy, I'll make sure that you know that your place is beneath me, Sasuke growled as he walked away to brood. Mizuki, who's next? Uruka asked. Sakura and Hinata, Mizuki said as he read the pair off of the board. The two girls had entered the ring and Hinata was taking deep breaths to calm her nerves. Once I'm done with you, I'm going to beat that blonde baka for taking Sasuke-kun's win. Sakura growled. Something in Hinata snapped and she just wordlessly slipped into the Juken and waited for Uruka to start the match. What's the matter? Too scared to talk to me? Sakura taunted. Naruto was about to yell at her to shut up when he saw the look on Hinata's face. Something told him that he should just watch. As soon as Uruka started the match, Sakura ran forward and sent a sloppy punch towards the Hyuga heiress. Hinata dodged the blow and flew at Sakura before she began to strike at her Tenkatsu. Once Hinata jumped back, Sakura fell to the floor in a heap, ending the match. Don't you ever insult Naruto-kun again, Hinata said in a dark tone, without a single stutter. The winner is Hinata, Haruka stammered as he watched the short match. Hinata walked back to Naruto's side before she snapped out of the trance she was in. As she looked around, she saw the pile of limbs that was formerly Sakura. Did IIIRR really do that? Hinata asked. After getting a confirming nod from Naruto, who felt like he couldn't trust his voice, Hinata fainted and fell into Naruto, who quickly caught her. I thought we finally got over the fainting. Naruto sighed as he went and propped Hinata up against the tree before sitting down next to her. While he was waiting for her to recover, the last few fights had occurred. The only one that was at least interesting was with the Ino girl. She was one of the few females that was able to fight like she had some skill. Of course, she wasn't as good as Hinata in Naruto's opinion, but he saw that she was a good person to be in second place for female fighters. While the teachers were going over the results of the spars, Naruto decided to wake up Hinata. But this time she seemed to be in a deep state of unconsciousness. Naruto had poked her and shook her but didn't get any results. Naruto then got a bright idea. He stood a good distance away and shouted, "Hinata, the last cinnamon roll is being sold right now." What? Hinata screamed as she shot straight up and grabbed the collar of Naruto's trenchcoat while giving him a crazed look. "Where is it?" she screamed as she shook him like a madman. Madwoman. "Hey! You're awake!" Naruto exclaimed, completely ignoring the fact that Hinata was about to jukin him for the location of the imaginary cinnamon roll. This seemed to jolt Hinata back to reality as she observed what was happening around her. Her hands were tightly gripping Naruto's coat, she was practically face to face with him, and the other students were staring at her with amused looks. "Eep!" was all Hinata could say before her face turned into a tomato and she fainted again. Naruto sighed as she fell forward into his arms. "Probably not my best idea," Naruto muttered as he set Hinata against the tree before facing the rest of the class. "Has anyone got something smelly?" Naruto asked. Choji stepped forward and handed Naruto some smelling salts. Naruto thanked him and held the smelling salts under Hinata's nose. Hinata opened her eyes and shot up. She looked around and saw that everyone was staring at her, causing her to burn with embarrassment. "You're not going to faint again, are you?" Naruto asked. Hinata just shook her head, not trusting her voice at the moment. "Okay kids, we're going back into the classroom so you can get your textbooks," Haruka announced as he ushered everyone inside. Naruto sighed as he walked back inside. This was an eventful day. Was Naruto's fourth year in the academy and he was highly bored with it. He honestly thought that he just went to a regular school for civilians half the time with all of these boring subjects. It was killing him on the inside. Naruto sighed as he looked around the classroom and observed his classmates. He noted how they had all changed in their own way. Shino didn't really change all that much, except he had gotten taller. Naruto was able to become one of Shino's good friends after he had just brushed a bug off of his shoulder instead of squishing it like most of the other kids. This led to Shino approaching him and questioning his actions, where Naruto told him that the bug wasn't bothering him so there was no need to crush it. Shino also accepted the fact that Naruto hated wasps, a hatred they deeply shared. Naruto was able to become good friends with Choji. He was able to connect with the Akamichi because of their love to eat. Currently, their ramen showdown had them tied at 18 bowls, and they were determined to outdo each other. Becoming Shikamaru's friend was fairly easy, all he had to do was spend a day with him and do some cloud watching. It also helped that they played a few shogi games every once in a while. Naruto always fumed when he couldn't beat Shikamaru, which was every time. Ino also became one of Naruto's friends after a certain incident. The young Yamanaka was being teased about her lack of taijutsu skill and was on the verge of tears. Naruto, hating to see anyone bullied, stepped in and defended her. After he drove the bullies away, the two blondes talked for a while. They found out that they each had a hobby in gardening. Naruto had decided on adding a few flowers in his apartment to make it seem more homey. Ino had offered to give him help once in a while and they became friends after a while. Kiba was difficult. Naruto had tried to become his friend, but the Inuzuka didn't want to because of his standing in the class. Naruto was in the middle, but Kiba was towards the bottom, close to the position of the dead last. His pride wouldn't let him accept it and he tried to surpass Naruto every day, only to fail most of the time. At least Akamaru liked the Uzumaki. Sasuke was one of the people Naruto couldn't connect with. After the Uchiha massacre, where Itachi, Sasuke's brother, had killed the entire clan save for him, Sasuke fell into a state of being the lone wolf. He never wanted to associate with anyone, and belittled others for any small mistake. Naruto wanted to become his friend because he knew about what it felt like to be alone, but gave up trying after dealing with the emo's attitude for a while. Then there was Sakura Haruno, daughter of Mebuki Haruno of the Civilian Council. She had hated Naruto with a passion after the very first day they started the academy. Naruto believed that it was because he had tied with Sasuke after their first match, but knew that it was also because of all the lies her parents had told her. He had met the Harunos, and knew that they hated him with a passion. He knew because they threw everything they had at him when he walked in front of their house, even the kitchen sink. And finally, there was Hinata, Naruto's first friend. She had gotten better with her training with the Hyugas and with her confidence. Naruto had found it strange that she would blush and stutter a lot when he was around, more than usual, but couldn't figure it out for the life of him. He had remembered the day when her strange behavior had started so clearly. Flashback 2 years ago. Naruto and Hinata were let out of the academy for the day and were about to go to a dango shop to celebrate passing their test. The two kids hadn't even left the academy when trouble seemed to find them. "Why are you still in the Hinata-sama Academy?" a voice asked from behind them, laced with disgust. The two turned around to see Neji Hyuga, Hinata's cousin who Naruto had the pleasure of meeting when he went to the Hyuga compound once. Their first meeting was pleasant. "En Neji ni-san," Hinata said as he glared at her, making her flinch. Naruto then stepped in front of Hinata and gave Neji a glare of his own. "What do you want?" Naruto asked. "I'm just wondering why a weakling like her is still trying to be a ninja," Neji said as he crossed his arms. "There is no hope for someone as weak as her in this world. Fate has decreed it." Naruto scoffed and said, "Fate, mate, none of that destiny stuff is real." Neji glared at him and said, "Those are the words of a fool who doesn't know his place in life. Hinata-sama will always be weak and worthless. It's because of her kindness, isn't it?" Naruto asked. Neji nodded and said, "Yes, her compassion for others will be her undoing." Naruto closed his eyes and said, "I don't believe so. Hinata-chan's kindness is her strength." Hinata looked up at Naruto with awe as he continued, "She is kind because she is a caring person. She wants to help all of the people she meets, even if it hurts her in the process. Hinata-chan cares for you, but you just don't want to realize it. So go and play with your beliefs of fate and all that junk. But when your fate fails you, don't come crying to me." With that, Naruto took Hinata's hand in his own, making her blush, and left the academy, leaving a fuming Neji behind them. "Naruto-kun," Hinata thought. "You are so kind to me, so helpful. You're someone I would want to spend my life with. You make me feel so calm and happy all the time. Maybe I should talk to Ka-chan about this." Hinata just blushed and had a small smile on her face as she and Naruto made their way to the dango shop. Flashback end. Naruto was jolted out of his thoughts when Iruka and Mizuki walked inside the classroom. Each one was sporting a few faded bruises and a couple of shallow cuts. "Iruka-sensei, what happened to you guys?" Naruto asked. Iruka smiled and rubbed the back of his head. "Well, me and Mizuki had a little spar yesterday. And we kinda went overboard with all the fighting. Over the years, Uruka had his opinion of Naruto changed after the Sandyame made him spend the day with the little Uzumaki. He had become nicer to him, except for when he was left to pay the bill at Ichiraku's whenever Uruka took Naruto there. While he was appalled at how much ramen Naruto could stuff into himself, his world was broken when he saw that Hinata could eat more ramen than Naruto. What's this? Business. You were the one who was throwing 20 kunai at me. Mizuki protested. Which one of us threw 2 Fuma shuriken, at the same time? Uruka shot back. Mizuki just blushed and turned around while whistling innocently. Everyone began to snicker at their sensei's argument. Uruka then decided to get on with today's lesson. Okay class, we're going to be going over our history of the Shadaime. This had caught Naruto's attention. He always wanted to learn more about the Shadaime since he was the only Konoha shinobi that had seen the Jiongu in action. He was currently fighting for second place on his list of favorite Hokages. First place goes to his idol Yondaime for saving the village from the Kyuubi. His Jiji was fighting the Shadaime for second place, he was the one who had given him his special gift. Can anyone tell me what noticeable events happened with the Shadaime besides him founding the village? Uruka asked. Sasuke raised his hand so Uruka picked him. The Shadaime battled Madara Uchiha in the Valley of the End where he defeated Madara, even after he summoned the Kyuubi no Kitsune, Sasuke said. All of his fangirls just gushed over everything he said. Correct. Now can anyone tell me what else Shadaime did? Uruka asked. This time, Naruto raised his hand. He was able to drive off an S-rank ninja from Takigakure when they tried to assassinate him, Naruto said. Where did you hear that? That's not in the textbooks, Uruka said. Naruto Baka probably made it up. Sakura huffed, causing everyone, even Sasuke, to stiffen before they sent glances to Hinata. Naruto was ready to restrain Hinata before she turned Sakura into paste, however, Uruka spoke up and drew everyone's attention to him. Naruto, can you tell us where you heard about that particular story? I haven't heard of it so I'm a little curious, Uruka said. Jiji told me, Naruto began, he was talking about the Shadaime one day and mentioned that he was targeted by many nations. The most noticeable one being an S-rank ninja from Taki. He never told me the ninja's name though. Okay class, I'll go and ask the Hokage about it and tell you all tomorrow, Uruka informed them. Hyuga compound later. The academy had let out for the day and Naruto and Hinata were walking to the Hyuga compound. Hinata's family had invited Naruto over for dinner, and even though he refused, Hitomi wouldn't take no for an answer. Both kids had entered the compound, and after greeting the guards, headed for the garden where they knew Hitomi would be. True to their thoughts, Hitomi was relaxing in the garden with a baby Hanabi in her lap. There was a big scare when Hanabi was born. Hitomi was starting to lose too much blood and was on the verge of death. But thanks to the efforts of Tsunade, she was able to pull through. She had to take it easy for a while, but is currently in good health. Hello Ka-chan, Hanabi-chan, Hinata greeted. Hina. Nato. Hanabi said as she waved to the two. Naruto just sighed, he would never be able to get her to learn to correctly pronounce his name. Hello Hinata-chan, Naruto-kun, Hitomi said as she stood up. Learn my name. Naruto yelled at Hanabi. The 4-year-old just giggled in response. Nato. She giggled, causing Hinata and Hitomi to do the same. Naruto just hung his head as a cloud of depression began to rain on him. Come on Nato-kun, why don't you tell us about your day? Hitomi teased. Naruto looked at her in horror while Hinata just fell to the floor laughing. Would you like to be called Nato-kun, or Phi Fishcake-kun? Hinata asked while holding in her laughter. Not you too Hinata-chan. Naruto wailed. None of the women could take it anymore and they fell to the ground laughing. Something amusing happened. Hiyashi asked as he was drawn outside by the laughter. Tell them to stop making fun of me. Naruto pleaded. Hayashi just smirked and said, now ladies, it's not nice to make fun of Naruto-san's name. All of the women just stared at him while Naruto grinned in triumph. Without inviting me to witness it happening, Hayashi finished. Naruto just stared at him in shock while the females just fell back into a laughing mess. After everyone recovered, they looked around to see Naruto and found him over by a shrub wallowing in depression. Sorry Naruto-kun, Hinata said as she saw the depressed blonde. It's fine Hinata-chan, Naruto told her as he stood up. I was just playing around with you all. Hayashi sighed and said, I should have known. That prankster side of yours is getting more mischievous each day. What can I say? Pranking is fun. Naruto exclaimed with a large grin. As long as you don't prank my family, meaning me, my wife, and daughters, then I give you free rein, Hayashi said. Naruto just gave him a smile while there was a mischievous glint in his eye. Next day, Naruto slid into his desk with Hinata on his right, Shikamaru and Choji behind him, and Shino and Ino in front of him. He was able to get Shino to become a little bit social with the group. It wasn't much, but progress is progress. He also managed to get Ino over her little bit of fear for Aburame. She was fine as long as his bugs didn't crawl onto her without her permission. So Iruka-sensei, did Gigi tell you about the Taki Shinobi? Naruto asked when Iruka and Mizuki walked inside. Yes he did, Iruka said. I must say, you helped me get a good history lesson Naruto. Iruka smiled at the blonde, who pumped his fist into the air in triumph. What did Hokage-sama tell you about that guy anyway? Choji asked while munching on a bag of chips. Iruka took a deep breath and began. Hokage-sama told me as much as he could remember since the incident happened when he was only a little older than you guys. Takigakure had sent an S-rank ninja to assassinate Shadaime, one who was able to use the 5 basic elements of ninjutsu tirelessly. The Shadaime defeated him easily and demanded compensation from Taki. Wow, who knew that Shadaime was such a popular guy, Ino commented. Well he did create the first hidden village and help make the basics for the shinobi system, Shikamaru pointed out. Iruka nodded and said, very good Shikamaru, seems like you've been studying really well. Not really, I just remember that particular sentence from one of your boring lectures, Shikamaru said, earning a few laughs from the class. Okay, all of you be quiet, Mizuki ordered, getting everyone to shut up. Now let's get started on today's lesson. What did we have planned again? We're supposed to go over the history of the Senju clan, Iruka said as he dug through his desk and pulled out a textbook. Isn't that the clan where the first 2 Hokages come from? Naruto asked. Iruka nodded and said, yes, the Senju clan which was one of the 2 clans that helped create the village along with the Uchiha clan. So the class went over their Konoha history for the rest of the day before they had a break for lunch and did shuriken training. Training Ground 27. Naruto had just gotten out of the academy and was currently entering his private training area. He would have gone with Hinata again, but this was one of 3 days that he had dedicated to training with the Jiongu. As he entered the training area, he saw that there was someone else there. Iruka-sensei. What are you doing here? Naruto asked. His teacher was leaning against one of the trees as he observed the many cuts in another one. Well, Hokage-sama told me that you should clue me in on something since you seem to trust me so much, Iruka said. I have no idea what you're talking about, Naruto said, lying through his teeth. Actually Naruto-kun, I think that you can let Iruka know, Hiruzen said as he entered the clearing. Are you sure Gigi? I mean, he never liked me in the beginning, Naruto said, making Iruka guilty at the way he treated Naruto. Don't worry about it, if I hear the villagers talking about your abilities, then we both will know that Iruka is to blame, Hiruzen said. Naruto sighed and said, okay Iruka-sensei, whatever you see here, you are not to tell anyone. Got it. Uruka, surprised by Naruto's seriousness of the moment, agreed. Naruto sighed and shrugged off his trenchcoat and showed Uruka the stitches on both of his forearms and the one that ran down his arm. Uruka was shocked to say the least, and even more so when he saw the mask attached to Naruto's back. What happened to you? Uruka cried. Nothing, Naruto said. This is something that I've had since I was born. So Naruto told Uruka the story that the Sandaime told him, causing the academy teacher to look at the Hokage in confusion. The aged leader just sent Uruka a look that he'll explain later. So what is this? Uruka asked as he motioned to the stitches. Naruto just grinned and held out his arm. Uruka watched in amazement as crimson threads came out of Naruto's skin and began to wiggle around in the air. Naruto then launched his arm at the tree and pulled off an apple that was hanging on the branch. Remember the Taki ninja that attacked the Shadaime? Naruto asked. Uruka nodded, so he continued. This was the special ability that he had. But Hokage-sama told me that he was only able to use all 5 elements, Uruka pointed out. I did, but that was one of the abilities that was granted to him by this special power, Hiruzen said. What do you mean? Uruka asked. I can take the hearts of my enemies and use their elemental affinities, Naruto said. But I can only use their primary affinity according to the scroll. That's a little creepy, Uruka said. Hiruzen chuckled and said, just wait for the next part. You'll probably be in shock. Uruka just looked at the Sandaime before looking back at Naruto. The boy had placed his hands in the Tora seal and began to concentrate. Jiongu. Activate. Naruto cried as the mask on his back began to jump, pulling the skin with it. The stitching along Naruto's back opened up and his fire heart jumped out after morphing into its 9-tailed fox form. Uruka was about to panic, but a quick reassuring glance from Hiruzen was all he needed to keep calm. Is this another ability of the Jiongu? Uruka asked. Yup. I can make bodies for the hearts I get with my threads, isn't that awesome? Datbayo. Naruto cried as he grinned. This is a really interesting ability. But can it help you with making a bunshin? Uruka asked with a smirk. Naruto just dropped his head in shame as he remembered that was his worst jutsu. What's this about bunshin no jutsu? Hiruzen asked. It's my worst jutsu. Every time I try it, it fails. Naruto wailed. I keep telling you to put more chakra into it. Uruka yelled. I put as much chakra into it as possible. Naruto yelled back. Before the two could continue yelling, the sound of someone face palming could be heard. The two looked over to see the Hokage with a red handprint on his face as he looked at the two with annoyance. Naruto, instead of trying to put all your chakra into just one clone, try to make many clones, Hiruzen said. Try to make at least 20. Naruto looked at the old man with confusion but complied. He began to focus his chakra in the way he was supposed to when making clones, but instead of trying to make just one illusion, he focused on making at least 20 clones. Bunshin no jutsu. Naruto cried as the small clearing they were in was enveloped in a large cloud of white smoke. After a lot of coughing and hacking from everyone who had inhaled some of it, they opened their eyes and the two younger males dropped their jaws in shock. The field was filled to the brim with Naruto bunshins. There were bunshins in the trees, hanging off of tree branches, and there were even bunshins that were standing on top of one another. As I thought, Hiruzen muttered. But, how? He can't even make one. Uruka cried. Hiruzen sighed and said, the answer's simple, Naruto has more chakra than half the village. So when you kept telling him to put more chakra in the jutsu, you were unintentionally making him overload the jutsu. Ha! I knew I was awesome. Naruto cried as he ran around the field cheering. Uruka put his head down in shame and said, maybe we should check the chakra levels of students in the year we start going over chakra. I'll be sure to mention that in the next council meeting, Hiruzen said as he watched Naruto cheer with amusement. Naruto-kun, come here for a moment, Hiruzen said. Naruto jogged over to the sandaime after he dispelled the bunshin and cleared the field of them. What's up, Gigi? Naruto asked as he grinned at him. The Hokage smiled and said, since you seem to have an abundance of chakra, I think I'll teach you a new jutsu. He held up a hand to stop the boy from celebrating. However, I'll only teach you this jutsu if you can make at least 7 bunshin. Naruto grinned and said, get ready to teach me a new jutsu, Gigi. I'll be waiting, it'll be a nice break from all the paperwork that I have to do, Hiruzen said with a chuckle. Now then, I believe it's time I got back to my office, the Hokage said, preparing to do a shunshin. Wait, Gigi. Naruto said, preventing him from leaving. Is something wrong? Iruka asked as he watched the blonde with worry in his eyes. Yeah, I seem to know a jutsu, but I've never known about it before, Naruto said. Maybe you're starting to activate another part of the Jiongu, Hiruzen told him. When Naruto looked at him in confusion, he continued. You are able to learn the jutsu that the person whose heart you took knows. My thoughts are that since you've matured some more mentally, you are starting to discover them. So I should start to know more jutsu now? Naruto asked. Yes, you will be discovering that you know jutsu that you originally didn't know, Hiruzen explained. Promise me that you will be careful with any new jutsu, proper practice with them will help you to use them better. Don't worry, Gigi, I promise, Naruto said as he gave Sandaime a reassuring grin. The Hokage then vanished in a puff of smoke, leaving just Naruto and Iruka in the clearing. Hey, Iruka-sensei, Naruto began, does this mean that if I want to make just one clone, I just try to put in as little chakra as possible? Iruka nodded and said, yes, and I'm sorry, if I had realized that you had more chakra than normal, I would have been able to properly help you. Naruto waved him off and told him, it's fine. The important thing is that we know the problem now. You know something about Naruto, Iruka started, I envy you. You envy me? Naruto asked. Why would you be jealous of me? Iruka smiled at him and said, because you're able to look on the bright side of everything. So how about I treat you to some ramen as a form of apology? Now Naruto wouldn't accept any type of apology unless it was an oral one, but when it came to apology ramen, all his morals went out the window, especially if he was the one that didn't have to pay for any of it. Yay! Ramen, ramen, let's go get some ramen. Naruto sang as he began to skip towards Ichiraku's. Iruka followed him, already feeling his wallet getting lighter. He would have to hold another funeral for it tonight. So friends, this was episode 1 of this dark and exciting story. If you enjoyed it and want episode 2 soon, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also comment down your thoughts. How powerful do you think Naruto will become after mastering the mysterious Jiongu ability? I'll see you in the next episode.